Hi, I'm Dr. Blake Paxton, Professor of Communication at St. Xavier University. You might be wondering why I'm in the weight room. Well, aside from getting my regular exercise, I'm here to talk to you today about giving on-camera presentations. If you think that a weight room is a weird space to give a speech, it is. Don't do it. So, today, get ready to hear some do's and don'ts on how to give effective on-camera speeches.
Today, Dr. Paxton is going to go over some of the things you should do before you even record your speech, as well as some tips for things you should and shouldn't do while delivering and recording your speech. Let's start with some tips for what you should do before you ever hit record, including personal preparation, readying your environment, and technical considerations.
You have to get yourself ready to record a speech just as if you would for a live presentation. You want to wear comfortable clothing, but you also want to look good for the camera. No pajamas, no hats, no hoods, and avoid wildly patterned clothing. Choose a time of day to record when you're at your best. If you're a morning person, don't wait till 10 or 11 o'clock at night after a long day to record, or after a really cool party. Also be sure that you have enough time to do a couple takes. This shouldn't be a rushed process. Take a couple of deep breaths, or do something to relax yourself before recording. Basically, compose yourself just as you would right before a live speech. And most importantly, practice. Even though you get a couple of takes for this one, you should be prepared as if you were giving a live presentation. Hey, even aim for better. Rehearse your speech in front of a mirror or even a trusted friend. But do not have the one and only time that you record the speech be the one that you turn in. So now that you're ready to go, let's think about the world around you. A sure way to ruin your speech is poor lighting. Too dark and your virtual audience can't see you. Backlighting can be even worse. Having a soft light shining on you from behind the camera is best. But if you can't accomplish that, just make sure that you don't over or underlight yourself. You also have to think about your background. Make sure that it's clean and appropriate, but not boring. Avoid items growing out of your head or what seem otherwise distracting. Be careful of ambient noise. Be sure to record in a place where you won't be interrupted, and take all the necessary precautions to make sure you won't be interrupted. Tell your roommate you need some time in the quiet space, and also be prepared for the unexpected, like dogs barking at your mail carrier. Close your windows and your doors, and silence or turn off your phone. Think about how you frame yourself in the camera. You can be more engaging just by changing the camera angles. No one wants to look up your nose.
Now let's consider some of the technical stuff. If you use your phone to record yourself, make sure it's charged and you have enough storage. Make sure your microphone works well, and test how you sound on it. You don't want to be too quiet or so loud that it sounds distorted. Do a test run recording and actually play it back on your computer.
Figure out your visuals ahead of time. If you don't have the skills to edit videos or graphics into your final presentation, or you're not allowed to, practice incorporating them into your speech so you know how they look on camera. Sometimes awkward visuals can be worse than no visuals at all.
So now that you've gotten yourself and your environment and your technology ready, it's time to record your speech. First, let's consider some of Dr. Paxton's tips on vocal delivery.
So speaking on camera is a lot different than speaking to a live audience. It's more like a one-on-one conversation. So imagine a friendly face behind the camera and talk to that person. And you have to remember to over-project your personality. No one's going to listen to you more than 30 seconds if you're speaking in a monotone. Be sure to vary your tone and your rate. Speaking of rate, you need to slow down just a little bit when you're on camera and clearly enunciate all of your words so your virtual audience can understand you. Remember to pause and use those pauses to take some breaths.
Now that you've got your vocal delivery down, that's only half the battle. Actually, it's only about 5 to 10% of the battle because studies show that people base about 90 to 95% of the meaning they give to a communicator's message on their nonverbal delivery. So let's see what advice Dr. Paxton has for us on nonverbal delivery.
Your nonverbals can make or break your presentation. So remember that giving a speech on camera is different than a live presentation. You should make sure that you smile naturally. And be expressive with your facial expressions and body language without overdoing it. Hand gestures are fine, but again, don't overdo it. And be careful not to cross your arms in front of your chest. That gives the wrong message. Also avoid yawning, biting your nails, twirling your hair, however much hair you have, rubbing your face, and even fidgeting off camera can be very annoying. Maintain good posture from beginning to end. You wouldn't lie in bed for a live audience, so don't do it for your on-camera speech. And don't bend down and go off camera, because that can be really weird for the audience too. Eye contact is probably the most challenging thing about giving an on-camera speech. If you're using your computer's camera to record yourself, then don't use your computer for your notes because you won't be making eye contact with your audience. Remember that friendly face, that person I told you to think about earlier in the program? Well, be sure that you're still talking to him or her. If you blink or glance away a few times, that's okay, because it's probably creepy just to be staring at it the whole time. But you should always be speaking directly at the camera during your presentation. So those are my tips on giving a phenomenal on-camera presentation. You can use these tips for virtual job interviews, video conferences, and any other presentations where you'll find yourself speaking on camera. Let's do one last recap of the do's and don'ts of online speeches. And then after that, you're off to make some great speeches for the world.
So before you hit record on that first videotaped speech, let's do a recap. We're going to recap what you should consider in terms of your personal preparation, your speaking environment, and other technical considerations. As far as your environment goes, first pay attention to your lighting. You want to make sure that it's not too dark or too bright, and you also want to make sure that you are not backlit. Check your background in your video. Make sure that it's clean and appropriate, but not completely boring. And please make sure you don't have anything growing out of your head. Pick a quiet location where you won't be interrupted. You want to try to limit background or ambient noise as much as possible. And make sure you frame yourself well. Play around with your camera angle until you find a spot where you look most engaging. And remember, no one wants to look up your nose. As far as personal preparation, pay attention to your appearance, your timing, and most importantly, practice. In terms of your appearance, make sure you wear comfortable but appropriate clothing, no pajamas, hats, hoods, or wild patterns. Consider your timing of your presentation. Record at a time of day that you are at your best. Give yourself enough time to do a couple of takes so you don't feel rushed, and relax. Take a couple of deep breaths and compose yourself before you record. And most importantly, practice. You need to make sure that you can deliver this speech on camera just as if you would have delivered your speech in the classroom. And finally, just a few of the technical things to remember. In terms of sound, check how you sound on your microphone ahead of time, record yourself, play it back, listen. Make sure you're not too loud or too soft. Practice with your visuals and record them so you know how they look on camera ahead of time, and make sure that you have enough memory, battery life, and what you need to get through your recording with your recording device. So let's consider your vocal delivery as well. You want to show your personality. Imagine a friendly face behind the camera and talk to that person and kind of over-project your personality a little bit. Don't speak in a monotone. Use your tone to convey emotions. And finally, speak just a bit more slowly and clearly than you would to a live audience. Remember to pause and breathe. In terms of your nonverbal delivery, think about your facial expressions. Smile naturally, not creepily. Be expressive. Use your facial expressions to help you show emotions. Again, overdo it just a little bit. In terms of movements and gestures, though, this is where you have to back it off a bit. Don't overdo it. It can get distracting. Don't cross your arms in front of you. That sends the wrong message. Be aware of adapters like yawning or playing with your hair, and try not to fidget with anything off camera. Think about your posture. Sit or stand straight, and don't lean off the camera for any reason. And finally, eye contact. This is the critical piece. Talk to the camera lens. Remember that person behind the camera that you're having a conversation with, and think about where you position your notes so your eyes don't look like they're shifting.
Or lighting.
The outtakes are going to be great.
They're going to be great.
Okay. Because, oh my God, seminars, anything, oh, jeez, record visuals, are better than, are not, oh my God. Take a couple of,